Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I did some meal prepping today that I'm going to share with you. The first up is one of my lunches, which is some sticky Asian chicken thighs with green beans. We're going to start off with the marinade. We're going to need 1/4 cup of coconut aminos. Just going to pour that into the bowl. And then we're going to need 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. You guys know how much I love sesame oil. It has such a good flavor to your sauces. 1 tablespoon of red wine vinegar, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, which of course you guys know I love garlic, so I did a rather heaping tablespoon of that. I'm not a fan of ginger, but I went ahead and just put it in here just to see what I would think. So I have a 1/2 tablespoon of ginger. I didn't quite do the full 1/2 tablespoon of that. And then we're going to use 2 teaspoons of onion powder. I love these spices from Thrive Market. They are so good. And then I picked up this Chinese 5 spice. It called for this recipe. I've never used it before. You need a 1/2 teaspoon of this. And then we need some salt, so about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Of course, I use my pink salt for everything. Then you're going to whisk this all together until it's all nice and mixed up. And then I'm going to get my chicken thighs ready. So I have my chicken thighs in this bag, and I'm going to just go ahead and pour the marinade in here. Now the recipe says to marinate for at least 30 minutes or overnight. So mine marinated for, since I started this in the beginning of my meal prep, and I actually ended up cooking the chicken very last, I marinated this for about probably 45 minutes or so is what I did mine for. Once your chicken has been marinating, you're going to take a tablespoon of oil, and then you're going to go ahead and add your chicken in. It specifically says for some reason flat side down. I don't know why. I don't know if that really makes a difference, but I did what the recipe said. So it said to add the chicken and also add in all of the marinade, because that is going to be the sauce. Theoretically, you'll see what happens with my sauce. The recipe says to cook it for 5 minutes undisturbed on this first side, and then once that 5 minutes is up, to go ahead and flip it over. Now I only have my heat at this point on 7. It says medium high heat, so that's what I have mine on. Mine's a little bit uneven. It always cooks a little bit more on one side of my pan than the other, so I always try to mix them around. So it says turn them over and then cook them for another 5 to 8 minutes on this other side. So that's what I did, and this is how they looked. So because this has no sauce at this point, because it says to go ahead and move them around a little bit, reduce your heat. So I moved mine around. It says move around in the sauce, reduce your heat. And then allow your chicken to cook all the way through. Well, mine was, I had no sauce, so I added a little bit of water. I turned it down to like 4 to finish cooking, and you can see like it just like really crystallized. It was really interesting. I mean, these little bits did not taste burnt. It's just it was not sauce. So I'm also going to cook my green beans, so I'm just going to go ahead and cook them in the same pan. There was still a little bit oil left from the chicken, so I did not even have to add any more oil or anything. So I'm just adding in about, I have a 5-pound bag of green beans, so I'm adding in about half of that. I absolutely love green beans. So I'm just going to saute those up a little bit. I did not follow the recipe exactly. In the recipe it said add some mustard powder and red pepper flakes. I just added the red pepper flakes and the salt. I did not worry about the mustard powder. I just thought that it would be just fine without that. It may be good with the mustard powder, but I didn't want to ruin my green beans just in case that was, you know, something I didn't like. So I'm just adding in quite a bit of red pepper flakes. It's going to be spicy, but I love red pepper flakes. So I'm just going to saute that up a little bit until they're nice and kind of, I like mine to be kind of crispy tender, especially since I am going to be reheating this for lunch. Here's where my doneness point is. So I'm going to go ahead and put them into a container and with the chicken. I wanted to save some room in my refrigerator, so I just put it in one container. If I was going into the office, I would have them in separate containers, but this week, as far as I know, I'm just completely at home, so I'm going to go ahead and just put it in one container. Stay tuned for my daily What I Ate vlogs, and I'll let you know if this recipe is a keeper. It smelled amazing, so I have a feeling I'm going to really like it. My next lunch is going to be kind of like a fajita, but using ground turkey. So I have all my veggies here. I have green pepper, orange pepper, yellow pepper, red pepper, and some onion. I just have them all chopped up. I'm going to go ahead and cook up the ground turkey first. Now I make fajitas quite a bit, but I've never made them with ground turkey. I just thought I'd just try it out and just see how it worked. So I have my pound of ground turkey here. I'm just going to go ahead and cook that up using my little meat spatulator thing. I can't remember what it's called. But I'm going to season this with a couple of different things. First thing I'm going to season this with is my favorite McCormick Himalayan pink salt, black pepper, and garlic seasoning. And I'm just going to put a little bit of that on there. Ground turkey tends to be very, very bland, so I'd like to season it quite a bit. And then I'm going to do about a third of my batch of homemade taco seasoning. I'm going to put the most of it in the vegetables. So in just this part, I have just about a third of my serving of that. It's going to be about probably 3 tablespoons total of your taco seasonings is what it would be. So I cooked up all my meat. Now we're going to do the vegetables. So just to the same pan, no reason to clean your pan. I added a little bit of oil to my pan, and then I'm going to add in all the veggies. So we're going to just put them all in this one big pan. If you don't have a pan big enough, of course, you'll have to do it in batches. But I'm going to cook these on a pretty low heat. That way they get nice and soft and a nice kind of like charred, kind of taste to them. I just feel like it's like long and slow is like the best thing to get some really good tasting veggies. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to cook them up a little bit first before I add on the seasoning. This is how I like them to look before I add on the seasoning. So I'm going to add in the rest of that taco seasoning in there. And then you want to just go ahead and toss that all together. I am also going to add a little bit of water just to kind of add a little, steam the vegetables up a little bit more. So I'm going to do that and then just kind of let this cook and let those flavors all marry together. And then here you go. So I'm just going to mix it together, the meat and the vegetables. And then the way I'll serve this is probably just with like some shredded lettuce or shredded cabbage is really good. Just something with some crunch. Or I could have it on a low carb tortilla, either one, but the possibilities are endless. Next up, I thought I might have some breakfast sandwiches this week. So I'm going to make these little mini keto pancakes to go on those breakfast sandwiches. Since this is the first time that I'm making this particular like keto pancake recipe, I didn't want to like double the batch or anything. This recipe that I'm going to share with you makes just 2 small pancakes. So I went ahead and just did that before like trying to double it. I wanted to try them first. So you need 1 tablespoon of almond flour and 1 tablespoon of coconut flour. 1 tablespoon of oil. I'm just using avocado oil. You could use coconut oil. I probably would use coconut oil next time just because it's a pancake, so it's okay if it's a little bit sweet. A half a teaspoon of baking powder. 1 egg. The recipe calls for a splash of heavy cream. I did not have any heavy cream, so I'm just using half and half. And then you would just want to whisk that all together. Now, optional, it says you can add in some sweetener and vanilla. Of course, I'm going to add vanilla because I absolutely love vanilla. And I decided since I just want kind of like a sweeter pancake, I am going to add in some sweetener. So I'm doing a half a teaspoon of this brown sugar Sucre Gold sweetener. So just a half a teaspoon is all I'm adding in. You want to give that a good stir, and I'm going to use my little mini dash griddle here. So it's been heating up. I did spray it with some cooking spray, so I'm just going to do half of the mixture since it did say it makes 2 little pancakes. So I'm just doing half of the mixture. Of course, you can just do this in a pan if you'd like to do that. If you don't have one of these little mini griddles, you could probably use, if you have the mini waffle maker, you could use that as well. I love this little griddle, so I am going to take advantage of having this. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that down. Now, the batter was not very thick, and so I knew I'd have to turn it over to get the other side cooked. If it was a little bit thicker, I wouldn't have to do that, but that's okay. So this little pancake, look at this little pancake. Didn't it come out absolutely perfect. So I did try a little bit of it. It was good. So I decided that this next batch, I was just going to double it so I could make 6 pancakes total. Now I want to go ahead and put a sandwich together for you because I was hungry. So I'm just going to take my egg. Again, I've never made an egg in my little mini dash, so I was really curious to see how it would turn out. So I'm just putting an egg on there. I'm also cooking in the microwave a piece of Canadian bacon. I'm just heating that up. So I have my pancake. I'm going to put my Canadian bacon on there. Let's just see how the egg turned out. It came out perfect. I got this little mini dash thing on Amazon, of course. So I'm going to put that in there, put another pancake on top. I'm going to use some of this Lakanto syrup and just pour that over on top. Now this is optional. You don't have to put the syrup on there, but it was so good, you guys. I cannot wait to have this for breakfast. I have enough to do 2 more sandwiches. Plus these pancakes were so super easy to throw together. I could easily throw those together at the very last minute. Also made up some jalapeno poppers just to have on hand for a snack. So I have my jalapenos here. I'm going to take the advice of some of you guys that told me to put the mix instead of, like, I was having trouble with my bacon bits falling off and my cheese falling off. So somebody said, hey, why don't you just put it all together in the mixture? So hey, that was such a great idea. So I have my cream cheese. I have my bacon pieces here. So, and then I have, I'm not sure, I can't remember how much I used, 1 or 2 tablespoons of the bacon pieces. Then I have my shredded cheese, which I just used a 1/4 cup of this shredded cheese. And then I ended up I was trying to mix it together. I ended up having to use my hands just like I do when I make a cheese ball. So I went ahead and did that. And then I'm just measuring out a tablespoon of the mixture and just using a tablespoon in each one. It is kind of a heaping tablespoon. Yes, it is. But I'm going to go ahead and do that and put it in on each one. So it would be a little bit easier to measure out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to all of them. I cook these in my air fryer. I cook them at about 400 degrees for about 5 or 6 minutes, and they come out perfect every single time. And that is everything, y'all. That is my meal prep for the week. I will have the recipe for the pancakes and the sticky Asian chicken thighs down below. The other one I just kind of made up, and I told you how I made the poppers. So that'll be everything, and I'll see you guys next week in my daily videos, and you guys have a fantastic day. Bye, guys.